Found dead in his cell at Sing Sing prison. 64-year-old John Esposito was found shortly after a parole hearing yesterday. Authorities say he died from natural causes. Esposito was convicted in the 1992 abduction of Beers. She released a statement saying she's saddened at the loss of a life, but at the same time, she's happy that John Esposito will never be granted parole or have the opportunity to hurt anyone ever again.
Well, she was kidnapped and chained in a dungeon, a 9-year-old missing for 17 days. Her name is Katie Beers, and 20 years ago this week, Long Island police were amazed to find her alive. Katie is finally telling her story, and Mary Murphy met her today for the first time. Incredible story.
It's really amazing, Tamsin. Thank you. I covered this story 20 years ago and always wondered what happened to Katie Beers, who is now 30 years old. She spent her 10th birthday in that dungeon, and Pix 11's Drew Scott was there when she was discovered on January 13th. 1993, smiling as police led her to the squad car. This contractor from Bayshore, John Esposito, finally confessed to police that he'd been keeping Katie hidden under his garage with an elaborate way of concealing the dungeon involving a bookcase, carpet, and 200-pound concrete slab. Katie could see the police outside on closed-circuit TV, but they couldn't hear her screaming and pounding the walls of the tiny coffin-like area where she was forced to sleep. It turns out Katie had endured years of sexual abuse by another family friend before Esposito kidnapped her on December 28, 1992. She ended up in foster care later. You said the kidnapping actually saved you.
Yes.
Explain what you mean.
The kidnapping was the best thing that happened to me, unfortunately, because it brought me to my parents, it brought me to my siblings, it brought me to therapy. It saved me from the childhood that I had had the prior 10 years, and it gave me a whole new life.
Katie calls her foster parents mom and dad, and tonight at 10 we will tell you about the amazing life that Katie has built for herself, and we'll show you the photos of the young mom's family. Just want to mention one more thing. One of the reporters who covered the case back then, Carolyn Gussoff, met Katie in 2008 and they wrote the book together.
Oh, wow. 64-year-old John Esposito was found shortly after a parole hearing yesterday. Authorities say he died from natural causes. Esposito was convicted in the 1992 abduction of Beers. She released a statement saying she's saddened at the loss of a life, but at the same time, she's happy that John Esposito will never be granted parole or have the opportunity to hurt anyone ever again.